Nicole.
Hello and welcome to chapter 11 of the Bhagavad Gita. I'm here this morning with Erica and Nicole and Alice, and thank you for all of you who have joined us at a later time on the recording. We really appreciate you being here and joining us today and your interest in the Gita. Today we are talking about chapter 11, and this is just such a rich and interesting chapter in the Bhagavad Gita. It's a chapter where Krishna reveals his whole self to Arjuna. And it was so interesting when this chapter came up for us as a community, because over the last couple of weeks, it's kind of past now since when I posted, but at the time that I posted this chapter for you to start to think about, it was a time when I personally I was confronting some shadow sides. I mean, honestly, I'm confronting shadow stuff all the time. I think if we are walking in awareness, all of us are. And when I went back and reviewed this chapter, I thought, wow, this chapter is about really recognizing our whole self, our light and our shadow. And in this chapter, actually, it just blew me away this time from that perspective of the way that Krishna revealed his whole self, all his brilliance, his light, his just gorgeous, his illuminating just like the sun, but then also all the whole other side, the shadow side, the part that was so terrifying and scary to Arjuna as well. So to me, that really spoke to how Krishna had embraced all aspects of himself, that he had unified both the light and the darkness within himself, and he revealed all of that to Arjuna. And Arjuna was only ready to see the light. It was too scary for him. So today we're going to start with a mudra for inner integrity that allows us to connect with, to see ourselves really clearly, and take responsibility for all of ourselves, for all of our actions, and so that we can conquer our fear of seeing not only our shadow side, but also our light side, because we're going to talk a bit about this today in our meetup, how we can tend to also project our light onto others. We can, think, oh, wow, oh, my yoga teacher has it all together. She meditates all the time. She's peaceful 24/7. And, I know I do that with my yoga teacher. I think she's just the cat's meow. But, then everything that I see in her, I see it because it also exists in myself. And so when we do a meditation like this, it allows us to see all these aspects of ourselves very clearly. So this meditation involves some breath of fire, so that we can clear those cobwebs and see clearly. So I will mute us all, including myself, for this, but I'll also I'll teach it first, and then I'll mute myself. So the way breath of fire works, if you take your hands on your belly and you inhale and you exhale with a ha and draw your belly back, ha, 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 ha. And then you're just going to close your mouth and do that through your nose. So it's an active exhalation as you draw your navel to your spine. So it's short, fast breaths from your navel. That's how the breath is going to be. And then the arms, you're going to make fists with your hands, with your thumbs up, like you're going to be hitchhiking. And then that's going to come to, so watch this hand. Imagine this one's doing it just as well. So you're going to bring that to the level of your temples on both hands. And we're going to do breath of fire from there. And we will, let's see, do we close our eyes? I think it would be good to close our eyes. And we're going to do this breath of fire for 3 minutes here, okay? So any questions about that before we get started? That sounds clear? Okay. So here we go. Bring your arms up. And here we go. Breath of fire. Keep going. Relax your shoulders. Okay, take a deep breath in. Draw up through your pelvic floor. Draw your navel back to your spine. And then exhale, relax your arms down. Pause here. Connect inward. Just notice what's happening in your physical body. Notice what's happening in your mind. Notice how you're feeling emotionally. And then when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. Okay. So, how is that breath practice in mudra for you? Anybody want to speak about that experience first before we get into the chapter and the questions that I have prepared for you? Oh, you're muted there, Alice.
It felt like after a minute or so, it felt like something going through my head.
Oh, did it really?
I could feel, yeah. And I was thinking, I don't know how people who suffer migraines can do this. I was feeling this, like, I don't know, like a tingling going in my head. I couldn't do the breath practice because I've just had dinner. But
Oh.
maybe I'll listen to it another time. But the mudra felt really, and now I'm like really clear in my head. And if I was feeling sleepy before, then now I'm really energized.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely an energizing practice. Very zingy. Yeah. Anybody else? Similar or different experience?
I could really feel the heat building in my body. I think that was my big experience, was feeling that heat, and then I feel a little bit less foggy-headed right now as well.
Yeah, that's definitely that transformative fire, practice of that breath of fire that, you know, we talked about that a bit in the class that we did this week for Namaste Yoga, the beginner's class on discipline. Oh, I so wanted to put breath of fire in that class, but I just thought it wasn't a beginner's practice.
Tough.
Yeah, it would, I think just trying to get that navel in and stuff just wouldn't happen. But yeah, so it's those inner fires of transformation that can start to get things going. Yeah, so definitely.
For me, sometimes it's difficult to receive what the breath of fire give to me, because sometimes it's kind of too much. But eventually I start to get used to. I don't know if it's because on one hand open myself, or maybe calm myself. I'm not used to be that calm, so it's like yeah, something like that. But it was really good.
It's maybe like adding fire to fire for you.
Exactly. What I was trying to say.
Yeah. Maybe not a great, like for you.
And I'm not very tall, so it's too
Yeah.
much fire for this.
Yeah, too much. Yeah, not a great best practice for you. Probably for you too, Alice. Why it had that very like feeling for you? Yeah. Okay, so I feel like I have some great questions today. I really love my questions. This is the question. The first question I have is about time, and I think I'd like to read the quote that I have too from chapter 11, verse 24 to 32, because this is where he speaks about time. And this is where Arjuna says, "I look at you and my heart trembles. I have lost all courage and peace of mind. I see your mouths with their fearful teeth, mouths burning like the fires at the end of time. I forget where I am and I have no place to go. O Lord, you are the support of the universe. Have mercy on me. I see all the sons of Dhritarashtra. I see Bhishma, Drona, and Karna. I see all our warriors and all the kings who are here to fight. All are rushing into your awful jaws. I see some of them crushed by your awful teeth. As rivers flow into the ocean, all the warriors of this world are passing into your fiery jaws. All creatures rush to their destruction like moths to a flame. You lap to the worlds into your burning mouth and swallow them. Filled with your terrible radiance, O Vishnu, the whole of creation bursts into flames. Tell me who you are, O Lord of terrible form. I bow before you. Have mercy. I want to know who you are, you who existed before all of creation. Your nature and workings confound me." And then this is the line that just really struck me. When I wrote Vishnu, I should. Krishna says, "I am time. I am the destroyer of all. I have come to consume the world." And I just thought, I don't know if this is Eknath Easwaran's translation or if this is exactly the way that it's said in the original. But wow, I just thought it was so interesting that Krishna's most demonic and feared form was, I am time, the destroyer of all. I have come to consume the world. Because whenever I ask people, what was the biggest obstacle you had this week, or what was the hardest thing you've come up against this week, it was like, I hear this again and again and again. It's like time. Time is my biggest enemy. I don't have enough time. Time really got in the way. Time is just like the biggest problem in my life. So I just thought this was so interesting. So my question was, what is your relationship to time? What do you say to yourself about time? And I was wondering, if you spent some time reflecting on this over the last little bit, and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on this. Yeah.
No, just to say that I have a different version, and it says exactly the same.
Says time as well. Okay.
Yeah. So,
great.
Yeah, no, but it's funny because 2 days ago or 3 days ago, I heard something that it says, I don't know from where, but someone said that the reason for time is that not everything happens at once. So the reason for time to exist. And for me, sometimes is that, and in the way that is described there, is that everything is happening at the same time. So that can destroy it.
Yeah,
chaos. Everything happening at destruction, chaos. And I think that's happened with us with time. We are kind of impatient and want a lot of things to happen. And maybe, of course, coming to meditation or for yourself, etc., you maybe want too many things at the same time. And that, confronting that is kind of hard. And just to start to do it, slow it, and change that concept of time, maybe it can be a little of a kind of obstacle at the beginning. No?
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Because when things do happen all at the same time, like when I think about in nature, think about tornadoes, think about tsunamis, like there is just incredible destruction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
volcanoes.
Description is beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to always complain that I didn't have enough time in the day to get everything done that needed to get done. It's because I was trying to do too much. And I still struggle with that. I still want to, I have 5 books right now that I have open that I read, but I have learned to back down and kind of ask myself, what is the top priority right now? Is it realistic for me to think that I can actually finish this task within a certain amount of time before I move on to a next? Am I going to be okay to just let this task go if something else comes up? So I've added in quite a bit more flexibility. But that's also had me to have to stop and think when I ask myself, why am I going through this exact same process that I went through 6 months ago? And I began to want to get very patient because I'm sitting with an emotion or a situation again, and I'm thinking, really, again, didn't we just do this? Mm-hmm. But then I realized there's more stuff. There's more stuff to let go of. And it goes along with what Erica says, if I tried to figure it out all at once, I mean, if it would just be too much for me to handle. And you've talked about that. Changes are more effective. You don't go into shock when it's little by little. So those are just I just have to sit back and kind of take a breath. Okay, well, I've done this before. I can get through it this time, and I'm going to be a little bit stronger and a little bit more aware. And in 6 months, 9 months, I'll go through the exact same thing, and I'll look back and remember that, yes, I did get through that, and allow it to happen again. And we'll keep doing it and keep doing it and can keep doing it because infinite time and no ambition, right? So that's kind of my lack of time used to scare me, but now I really appreciate that I'm planning on living for at least 40 more years. You know, I have a good amount of time left if everything goes, if I don't get in the car and crash or something today. So,
Yeah.
you know.
So two things stand out to me about what you're saying. One is the cyclical nature of things, and the other thing is the way you come back around to things. So it's both kind of about the cyclical nature of things.
Yeah.
So one is with the cyclical nature of things, and I think we've seen this again and again in our studies and in the way we practice yoga, is that nature teaches us about those cycles, right? We see it each month in the moon phases. That is completely natural, right, to go through things in cycles. We see it with the seasons, that things come back every year, right? The tree doesn't go, damn, I'm losing my leaves again this year. I can't believe it. God, I did this last year, right? Oh, my God. So it's just, it's part of life, right? And the tide doesn't every day go, oh man, I'm going out again, right? Because it's like that, I think, in our culture, where, like, I always talk about the tsunami. If the tide was always flowing in, we would be in so much trouble, right? Everything would be flooded. We'd be in so much trouble. We would be in tsunami land. We can't always be in a state of abundance and drawing everything in. There has to be time when things ebb back out. So that is really, cycles are really important for us as human beings, and to honor them. Even, right, you can't stay awake all the time. You have to go to sleep at night to restore. So there's that balance between the two. Mm-hmm. And I think as yogis, we tune into those and take and really get the most benefit from them, right? Between giving and receiving. But one thing that one of my teachers spoke about recently that really just landed with me and gave me a lot of confidence and resonated with me, which is something you spoke about, coming back to something again and not feeling so beat up by it. But she said that when you come back to a lesson and it's like, oh man, I've been here before. Didn't I already go through this one? She says that when you come back to the lesson, you're coming back to it from a different place.
Exactly.
So the last time you were here, this time you're here, so it's actually part of your soul's evolution. So even though you're coming back to the lesson, you're coming back to it from a higher, evolved, more spiritually grown place. And so it's not like you're repeating the lesson. You're repeating the lesson. So before you were in kindergarten, now you're in grade 1. The next time you're doing the lesson, you're in grade 2. Like, so, you know, if you've done this lesson 20 times, you might be on your PhD in this lesson at this point, right? So if it's a lesson that keeps coming up, you could be really proud of yourself.
And I do see that every time I'm left to come out of something, I'm coming out with a new insight or a new awareness. And it's really, it was earlier this week when I made that realization, like, that's really kind of cool. Maybe that's what it's all about. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that's a really interesting one to become aware of. Any other insights around time? Yeah, I'd love to hear, Alice, what you have to say about that.
Well, what I thought of when I thought about this question was, I think a long time ago I realized that I feel really sad if I think that I haven't made the most of the time that I've had. And I think I first noticed this when I went away to university. I went to a different town and I was, living in a dormitory and all this stuff. And I felt then that I hadn't really appreciated some of the things at school and my friends and my family, and that made me feel really sad. And since then I've tried to sort of really make the most of what I'm doing, or the place that I'm in. It's like I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to get that feeling after it's gone that, oh, now it's too late and I didn't really enjoy that moment as much as I could have. I mean, it still happens. Of course, it's a sort of a practice that you slip up all the time, and of course I still get those feelings. Oh, I kind of missed that bit. But it's like the feeling that once every second time is passing, it's not going to come again. And so, do I really want to be wasting my time watching this 5 minutes of TV ads? No, I don't. Mm-hmm. I'd rather be doing a crossword, or I'd rather be looking out of the window at nothing than watching these stupid ads on TV. That's just a small example, but to take another example, my father died suddenly when I was living abroad. He was completely healthy, and he died of a heart attack out of the blue at quite a young age, at 67. And the thing that made me feel most sad was that we hadn't had a nice parting. He wasn't angry with me, but he was really, really angry that all the traffic was bad when he was dropping me at the airport. Oh. And, I'd given him a hug and said, oh, thanks for the ride. And he was like, well, I can't say it's a pleasure. And I just felt that's really sad, that was our last conversation. And of course I know that he wasn't angry at me and that he really loved me and all this stuff. Since then, that really made me think about my interactions with people, like when I'm saying goodbye to my husband in the morning when he goes off to work. I don't want that to be messed up in any way, or it really stuck with me, that thing, that those small moments are never going to come again.
What a beautiful gift then in the end.
Yeah.
Although a great loss, what a beautiful gift that's been with you through your whole life. Yeah. What stands out to me about all of that is this intention to really, in a way, make time quite spacious and enjoy the most of time. Take that step back and really enjoy life rather than feel sped up by life. So really, the three of you, none of you are part of the I don't have enough time camp. No, none of you wear watches, I guess. I'm assuming none of you wear watches.
No. Oh, yes. No, I do.
You do? For work? No.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the kind of, yeah. I'm terrible with time.
Okay, so say more about that.
No, I think it's I'm obsessed to be on time, and one of the things that I still find hard is when people doesn't arrive on time. And can you imagine me being from Latin America? I suffer so much there. Yeah. I think, I don't know, but yeah. And I always been going out with people that are terrible with time.
That's a whole other ball of wax.
Yes. Yeah. So I have the time here in the telephone. Yeah. And
time is really important to you then.
Yeah, I even sleep with
you
my
value
dog.
time.
Yeah, no, it's but yeah, when I took out my my watch, it's very liberating for 2 minutes. Then I start to get into but I'm conscious of that. Times is important, but sometimes I'm able to get lost, like if I'm very focused, or yeah, that's a good thing. With my meditations or with my yoga, I don't check my time. So that is something very positive I have gained. But yeah, there's still a lot there to do.
Okay, we can move on to the next question. There's a book that I started reading on time that is really beautiful. Oh, shoot, my battery's empty. I can look it up on my computer, though. That I think might be a nice book for our next book club, Nicole. It's, let's see. Okay, here it is. It's called The Buddha Standard Time, Awakening to the Infinite Possibilities of Now. So I thought that was a really, it's a really great book. I'm really enjoying it. Let's see if I can show you the table of contents. Yeah, see this, making peace with time. There you go.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I just think because so many people have been talking, this is just something I'm hearing about nonstop. So making peace with time, awakening to natural time, taking time for your higher self, getting in sync, minding time wisely, creating space and the pace, living in sacred time and space. It's just really, what I've read so far is just gorgeous. So I'm really enjoying this book. I'm going to take it with me to Tofino next week.
Oh, yes.
So, did you get that, Erica?
Yes.
Okay. No, I'm not saying you need to read it. I just saw you taking notes. I'm just making sure you got it down in time.
No, I think it will be good for me.
It wasn't a prescription. I just wanted to make sure you got it down. Okay.
No, I like the way that you said, you got it, Erica?
I just saw your pen going. I just wanted to make sure I didn't go off it too soon.
No.
But anyway, Nicole, I think that might be a nice next book, kind of different from what we've been doing, and yeah. Okay, so that was my first question about time, because that's been a big one recently for people. And then the next one is about, now we're going into dark and light shadows. So the first one is about, in what ways do you project the qualities of the light of 1,000 suns that exist in you onto others? Such, it might be you do this with celebrities or teachers or people that you admire. I just had an insight about one that I do that I never realized before. Shall I start today? Okay. I never realized I did this. One of my best friends, she is just this gorgeous mother. She is so mothering, and she just has the most nurturing mothering qualities. She's just wonderful with her children. She just displays all this patience, and she's just so present with her children, and she cooks them these wonderful meals, and she's just so present in their life, and I gush on her about this all the time. You're just the most amazing mother. You're the archetypal mother. You're Earth Mother. You're amazing. You're just amazing. And I give her all that all the time. I project that, like I just give her all that. And so I just realized that, well, maybe some of those characters are present in myself too. And I always thought I don't do that at all. So that's one of definitely that's an example of a light shadow, because I never really think of myself as a very nurturing mother. So that's a good example. Any ones that you guys can think of where you might project your goodness onto another, see it in another person, or
I think for me, it's the light shadows that I have the most difficult time with. And so when I kind of find myself, feeling resistance, especially with new people that come into my life, and there are qualities about them that I like, kind of I'm a little bit at arm's length, and it's just right now helping me to remember, well, I'm a little bit at arm's length with myself, wanting to see my own goodness sometimes. But there is a new friend that's in my life, and I see him as being very wise and very I don't want to use the word enlightened, but that's really a word that's coming to me. Just a very wise, strong in their path kind of person. And that's something that I'm really admiring right now. And then people that I see with patience, I am not always very patient, so I see patience in other people, and I know I'm more patient than I want to give myself credit for. If you know anything about my life, you would know I'd have to be a little bit patient. But there are little things that I do see in other people. I just kind of have a hard time admitting that maybe those qualities can be in myself too. So that's where I kind of struggle, is acknowledging. And that's part of what I was going back before. I'm going through the same things that I went through several months ago. So here I am again in positions where I'm having to face my light shadows. It's easier to fall into those bad habits and say, wow, I'm really that angry, bitter, those negative shadows. I'm comfortable in the negative. So that's
Nicole,
interesting.
You are wise and enlightened. I would definitely see you that way. And I definitely see you as patient too. I know that your posts, I see every post I read of yours, I think, wow, she shows so much intelligence and so much light on her spiritual path. And the examples that you give in your posts do show a lot of patience, both with your children and your family life and your work life. I don't know how you do what you do at work. You show excruciating patience at your work.
Well, now my dark shadows did come out this week. I said a couple of things, and I had to apologize on 2 occasions, saying, I am so sorry. I was so mean. I have no idea who that person was. So I did lose my patience this week. And not that I'm making excuses, I think that it's in addition to work and knowing what's coming up next, I was just a little bit edgy.
You're a human being.
Yes.
That's good. Phew, what a relief for the rest of us.
But I did have to go to 2 people at work and say, whoa, I don't know what those words were that just came in my mouth. I am so sorry. And it was directed in general, not at anything in specific. It was just... So my dark shadows came out, and it felt strangely nice because people at work don't ever see that side of me. So now I'm starting to become real at work too.
Excellent.
So and maybe that is the yoga at work, becoming more authentic, right? You're seeing a side of me here that you might make you feel better about me, and people at work are starting to see, she's not quite as perfect as she wants us to think she is.
It lets everybody off the hook, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the walls are falling down. Maybe that's
Yeah. Nice. Any other light shadows? Yeah.
Just to mention maybe something that had to do with bodies, and the physical thing is connected with yoga that we've been doing for the last weeks, and I've been working a lot this year, is this idea of grounding. So I really admire a lot that in people that have this nature to be very grounded with the bodies and in the posture, and when they walk and they stand. And my partner, for instance, she doesn't do much yoga. She's very sweet. She comes to one of my classes. But she's so grounded. I mean, I look at her, and any posture that she does, even without practicing too much, she comes very grounded. And for me, my life is still reworking again on that. So that's something that I can say that I can see in others, and I really admire a lot. Yeah.
And I see it in you. I really do. Your relationship with grounding is so sophisticated. Can you acknowledge that for yourself? The way you've been, the way you've been discussing it recently in the posts, it's just, it's just on a level that's really, really sophisticated. It's on a very integrated level, a level that goes beyond a superficial level of, okay, I'm going to feel my feet on the ground. It's a very integrated level of, where you're connecting with your organs, and it's just a very sophisticated, integrated level. So give yourself some credit.
Okay. Yeah. No, maybe I can say yes, it's there, but also I think it's necessary for me to go that way, on that level, and maybe I need a little bit more of compassion with me. I have to go back to that. To accept it, and thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Alice, do you have anything?
Well, I found this question, I had no idea what to respond to this question, but now that I've listened to everybody, first of all, I think that I more easily criticize other people than admiring them, not in the sense that came out wrong. What I mean is that I don't admire someone and think, oh wow, I'm never going to be like them. If I admire somebody, I think, oh, that's great, I'm happy for them. But if I criticize somebody and think, oh, why are they being so stupid, why are they being so angry, that I know is also something that I do myself. If I see somebody being angry or doing the same stupid thing over and over, then pretty much all the time, that's also something that I do. And then the other thing that just occurred to me is that I don't feel that serving others comes very easily to me, and I think that I admire people who are constantly working for other people and serving other people and doing it with a smile and being patient and all this. And for example, my mother-in-law, she has a lot of health issues, but she never complains, and she's always on her feet doing stuff for people, and she'll never let you do anything to help or anything like this. And I really admire that, and I don't think that I'm like that, and I don't even know if I want to be, but I still admire them for doing it. So maybe there's something I can explore there about service to others.
Yeah, well, from what I know about your life, so I do think you serve a lot.
Sure.
I think you prepare a lot of the meals, and you serve your father-in-law dinner, from what I know. Yeah, so I think that for what you do see in others that does exist in yourself, there is a lot of gift of service in your life.
Mm.
Yeah.
I am actually thinking about a post that I remember reading, and she did say that it was servitude was part her culture, but it was part something that she enjoyed doing. And I wish I knew exactly where it was so that you could go back and read it.
I'll have to find that. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's in the book club
In the
forum.
book club, right? Yeah. Yeah.
But I was thinking that also the way that you come here in the community is amazing. You give so much. I mean, you, in a way of serving a
That is
lot
an act
of
of
the members here.
A really beautiful journal exercise that you can use with this is to each day, maybe do this for a week, or and if it's serving you, you can do it for longer. Write down 3 ways that you find this aspect of your light in coming out in your life. 3 examples. So 3 ways that you're finding yourself grounded, Erica. 3 ways that you find yourself patient, wise, and enlightened, Nicole. And 3 ways that you find yourself offering service, Alice. And it's a really great way to acknowledge yourself, and then you start to take ownership of it and really find its presence in a very deep way in your life. And it starts to take that projection outwards and help you to find it in your own life and take ownership and see where it exists in you. And you'll find it. It's a beautiful journaling exercise. So it's one that I've done in various different ways in my journal, and it really helps me to, it really turns things around when you start to look for those examples. Yeah. Okay, my final question for today was, what aspects of yourself are most terrifying to you? I'll share mine first, though, as well. Because does Arjun's story help to normalize it a little more? So I have to say the aspect of myself that is most terrifying to me and makes me feel like a fraud all the time is the level of anxiety that I live with. Like, I feel like, oh my God, if people actually knew how stressed out and anxious I can get, I don't think they would ever follow me as a yoga teacher. But I also think, that being said, you know, as like the math teacher that found math difficult, like if you don't have that experience, how can you know, it allows you to be a better teacher, right? So you know how I'm laughing so much? That's how you know your shadow's present, right? But yeah, that is one that terrifies me at times. So that's mine. That kind of stress and anxiety. Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of stumped because my answer is not what I expected it to be right now in my, you know, my anxiety and my fear is not, you know, any big secret. And then I've got anger, you know, a lot of pent-up anger and bitterness that I've been working through. But my natural urge to want to, and I mentioned it a while ago, keep people at a certain distance. I think I'm almost afraid of that part of me right now, because what if I ultimately push somebody away that could bring to me every bit of light that I'm really supposed to have in my life. So I've gotten to, what if I push away that one opportunity? And I don't believe there's just one opportunity. I believe that it's all around. But what in all of my guardedness, I missed something. I missed something that's supposed to be there, that out of my, I guess it is fear, out of my and there's a word I'm looking for, but I can't look. It's almost selfishness, I think. Out of my perceived, whatever it is. I'm going to use the word selfishness. I'm keeping other people out that need to be in my life, and whether they need to be there for me or me for them. So I'm trying to be a little bit more cautious of the little ways that I do shut people in my physical life especially out. And facing some of that, I have realized that it's my own stuff that is keeping me from doing it. It's has nothing to do with most of the people around me. Even though in some cases I've been able to see red flags, and it's like, okay, you need to stay at a distance, or you need to stay at a distance. There are some people that are around me, and they're there, but they're not there, because I won't let them. But it has absolutely nothing to do with them. There's no red flags, and there's no gut feeling that is saying they're bad for you or you're bad for them. Instead, it's saying, what are you doing? You're an idiot if you don't let them in. So I'm hearing the opposite from what I'm used to hearing with people, and it's just like, did I just call myself an idiot? Yes, I really did. So now it's kind of like I'm more scared not to take a little bit of risks, and telling people, and maybe it's going back to working in the throat chakra, but actually going to people and saying, this is what's going on, can we talk about this situation? Or, and maybe let them decide a little bit more instead of me just assuming that I know what's best. So it's, I don't know if there is a word for any of that, but that's my biggest fear right now, is missing opportunities. And that might even go back to what Alice was saying about time, making the most of your time.
Interesting, yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think it's also very interesting too that the inner critic is definitely present with these two, right? Like, you idiot, you stupid, you can't be like this. This is big warning bells, and the judge comes out, and right, it's definitely a sign. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I feel terrified sometimes that I don't trust myself. For example, I don't trust myself to make the right decision, and I put off deciding something because I can't be sure that I'll be deciding the right thing. Or I have a lot of worries about the future, as in the unknown, because I can't start making a plan of how I'm going to deal with it. And I often don't trust myself that I'm going to be able to cope. And my mind just runs along with what if this and what if that and what if this, and it's just waiting to begin a plan, but it can't plan anything. Having said that, all my past experiences have shown that I can cope with whatever comes along. And so I know that it's a feeling. It's not based in any kind of fact that I've experienced. It's just an emotional response. But it is a bit terrifying sometimes. I just can't trust myself. Yeah. I'd rather trust other people or trust God, or instead of what's inside me.
Do you want to add anything to this, Erica?
Okay, one of there is anxiety, yeah. But I think one thing that I also discovered recently in understanding anxiety and fear, because they're very connected in my case. I know I did that. I work a bit with one of the devotional videos prepared by Ivy. It's a kind of fear of being terrified that be but treated by others. And not only those close to me, but people close or people that I know or that have a connection with me. When that happened, I put that in my heart, and it's like stuck there, and that creates so much fear in me. And again, that's connected with working in the grounding, so it's not all stuck just here. So that's it. It's maybe very kind of a specific, but it's this understanding why that terrified me so much that it maybe can help me to solve and open and just not leave it there.
Okay, so thank you everybody for speaking about both your light and embracing the light aspects of yourself, and also the aspect of yourself that terrifies you the most. In terms of the aspect of yourself that terrifies you the most, next week we're starting a new series in Namaste Yoga on your inner critic. And so this is going to be, I just encourage you to bring that part of you along that terrifies you and bring that into the field of awareness, because with Nicole brought up that just notice all the parts of you that are like, I imagine the kind of dialogue that Nicole brought up around like, oh, this is stupid, I shouldn't be feeling this way, I should know better, you know, like Alice spoke of it a little bit more eloquently, like I have the tools in the past, I always know I've done better, right? So there's always this little bit of judgment around, and even Erica says like, well, so I have this plan, you know, I'm gonna ground myself, right? Like there's this kind of like there's this teacher there, there's this judge there, right, to kind of make things right. So that's kind of the role of the inner critic, right? To keep everything safe so that we don't get hurt by whatever's going on outside, or, you know, aspects of ourselves and that sort of thing. So that's what we're going to be starting next week in Namaste Yoga, and I think it's going to be a fun ride. So I thought this question kind of will flow kind of nicely into that too. So just bring that along with you. Anything else that stood out about this chapter that you want to bring up before we close out today?
I just want to say something. I really find it interesting, the idea of the monster with the big head, and it's like maybe what we have to do is to go to the big head and take it with our hands. So yeah, I really like this chapter a lot. The way that it was written and everything, I find it fascinating. Yeah.
I like it too. I think I'm curious, perhaps, does it help that you've had some kind of grounding and context in Hindu mythology and stories, so that you know Kali and all her heads and that kind of thing, so that you know that demons can be helpful? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? So we will meet back next month for Chapter 12. And then we will be moving on to the final 6 chapters. And Molly and I will put together another series of classes for you. So thank you all for being here today. Thank you for those who are listening to the recording. We would love to hear your responses to the questions that we spoke of today. Any mantras that you have around time, your relationship to time. We'd love to hear about your light shadows and the ways that you project your goodness onto others, and the most terrifying aspect of yourself. So let's keep this conversation going in our community even after I post this recording, because I know some of you weren't able to make it today and that you listen on the recording afterwards. So thank you all for being with us today and for taking your valuable time and spending it with us. Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye. Thank you, Melissa.
Bye.
Have a good holiday.
Oh, thank you. We will.